"Show me your hands! Now!" Officer Richard Dalton screamed, weapon trained on the elderly black man tending to his garden at dusk. James Washington, 73, retired engineer, Vietnam veteran, slowly straightened, garden shears falling to the grass. "Son, this is my home," he said calmly, reaching toward his pocket. The gunshot cracked through the peaceful suburban evening. Miles away, Federal Prosecutor Maya Washington's phone lit up with a call that would change everything. She didn't know yet that the body camera was still running. Have you ever been misjudged before they even knew your strength? Tell us in the comments. Also hit like and subscribe. Only those that don't believe in justice would walk away. The city of Baltimore had a heartbeat all its own, chaotic but resilient, wounded but determined. Federal Prosecutor Maya Washington knew its pulse better than most. At 38, she'd built her reputation dismantling drug cartels, corrupt politicians, and occasionally, cops who'd forgotten their oath. The federal courthouse gleamed cold and white in the morning sun as Maya walked through security with a quick, professional nod. Her tailored suit moved like armor around her tall frame, hair pulled back tight, eyes focused ahead. Nothing betrayed the storm inside her. "Morning, Ms. Washington," the security guard said, voice unusually gentle. News traveled fast in Baltimore's justice circles. She nodded without slowing down, already reviewing mental notes for the Rodriguez cartel case closing arguments. Work was the only place grief couldn't touch her. Not completely. 12 days. 12 days since her father's blood had soaked into his own front lawn. 12 days since Officer Richard Dalton had claimed he feared for his life when James Washington, a 73-year-old man with a gardening hobby and a Veterans Affairs card, reached for his ID. The elevator doors opened to Assistant U.S. Attorney Mark Chen waiting, concern etched across his face. "Maya, you shouldn't be here. The funeral was yesterday." "I have closing arguments," she replied, stepping around him. Mark followed. "Simmons can handle Rodriguez. The department understands." "What they understand," Maya cut in, "is that I don't miss court dates." Her voice was steel wrapped in silk, professional, controlled, deadly. "Especially not now." What Mark didn't say, what everyone whispered behind her back, was that Officer Dalton had just been placed on administrative leave, not arrested, not charged, just paid vacation while Internal Affairs conducted their thorough investigation. As Maya pushed open the door to her office, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost ignored it until something made her answer. "Ms. Washington, this is Thomas Kelly, Internal Affairs. There's something on your father's case you need to see. Something on Dalton's body camera that wasn't in the initial report." Her hand froze on the door handle. "I'm listening." "Have you ever had that phone call that changed everything? The one that made you choose between following the rules or finding real justice? Drop your story in the comments if you've faced that crossroads. Like and subscribe if you believe some calls demand you answer." "We can't show you the footage officially," Kelly said, voice low across the quiet cafe table. "It would jeopardize—" "Cut the bureaucratic bullshit," Maya hissed, leaning forward. "That was my father." Kelly glanced around nervously. "I could lose my badge for this." "And my father lost his life." Kelly's eyes finally met hers. Dalton muted his camera after the shooting, but not before. Before what? Before he said, "Another one down," then laughed, then radioed in, "Armed suspect." "Your father never had a weapon, Ms. Washington. The shears were 10 feet away." Maya's coffee cup trembled in her suddenly ice-cold fingers. What would you do if you discovered a cover-up about someone you loved? Would you trust the system or take matters into your own hands? Drop your answer below. Also hit like and subscribe. The basement evidence room hummed with fluorescent tension. Kelly shifted uncomfortably while Maya stared at the paused video frame on the monitor, her father's face frozen in confusion, hands clearly empty. "Play it," Maya whispered. Kelly hesitated. Once you see this, play it. The footage rolled. James Washington turning slowly. Officer Dalton's voice barking commands that contradicted each other. Her father's gentle voice. Son, this is my home. His hand moving toward his pocket, likely for his wallet. Then the shot. Her father falling. And Dalton's voice, casual as discussing the weather. Another one down. A chuckle, then louder. Dispatch. Armed suspect neutralized. Maya didn't realize she'd stopped breathing until spots danced before her eyes. There's more, Kelly said quietly. The footage continued. Dalton approaching the body, nudging it with his foot, turning off his audio. Then, despite the muted sound, the unmistakable placement of the garden shears moved from where they'd fallen to suddenly appear within her father's reach. He staged it, Maya said, voice hollow. Kelly nodded. And there's history. Dalton has 3 other shootings, all black men, all ruled justified because weapons were found at the scene. Who else has seen this? Just me and my partner. The official report already went out claiming your father was armed and dangerous. That's perjury. It's worse, Kelly said, rubbing his face. It's standard procedure. The department will back Dalton unless what? Unless someone higher up the chain gets involved. But this crosses jurisdictions. City police, federal prosecutor's family. He lowered his voice further. Dalton's uncle is Deputy Commissioner Wilson. Maya stared at the frozen image of her father lying on his own lawn, blood pooling beneath him. Copy the footage, she said, voice suddenly calm. Too calm. I can't just... Either you copy it now, or I walk straight to the FBI field office and report tampering with evidence in a federal case. This isn't a federal case. Maya's eyes never left the screen when she answered. It will be. If you were standing in Maya's shoes, would you follow protocol or break every rule to get justice? Comment your choice below. And if you stand for real accountability, like and subscribe now. The U.S. Attorney's conference room fell silent as the body camera footage ended. 6 senior prosecutors, the FBI special agent in charge, and the U.S. Attorney himself sat motionless. This is murder, Maya said into the silence. Premeditated, with racial motivation. U.S. Attorney Pearson cleared his throat. Maya, you shouldn't be involved in this discussion. You're too close. With respect, sir, that's exactly why I should be involved. I know this case better than anyone. That's precisely the problem, said Burke from Violent Crimes. Defense would have a field day with your involvement. Conflict of interest doesn't begin to cover it. Maya leaned forward. Then I'll resign. Today. Become a special prosecutor instead. That's career suicide, Pearson said. My father's murder is slightly more important than my career trajectory. FBI agent Rivera spoke up. The police department is already closing ranks. Wilson is claiming the footage was tampered with. Let them, Maya said. Digital forensics will confirm authenticity. It's not that simple, Pearson sighed. The city's tense already. Another police shooting case. Another? Maya's voice cut like glass. Is that what my father is? A statistic? Another unfortunate incident? That's not what I meant. If this were your father, would we be debating jurisdiction? Maya stood, hands flat on the table. Answer honestly. No one spoke. I'll take that as confirmation, she said. I'm filing federal civil rights charges tomorrow, either with your blessing or after my resignation letter. Pearson removed his glasses slowly. You realize what you're starting? I'm finishing what Officer Dalton started. If someone crossed a line they couldn't take back, would you call them out? Or let the world decide? Drop your answer in the comments. Hit like and subscribe to the channel if this hit you too. The press conference steps were packed. Cameras, microphones, reporters shouting questions. U.S. Attorney Pearson stood at the podium, flanked by the FBI director and Maya. The Department of Justice announces federal civil rights charges against Baltimore police officer Richard Dalton in the shooting death of James Washington, Pearson stated, voice echoing across the plaza. Evidence indicates willful deprivation of rights under color of law resulting in death. The crowd erupted. Maya maintained her composure, eyes fixed on the horizon where the city skyline met the gray November sky. Additionally, Pearson continued, we've opened an investigation into potential obstruction of justice and evidence tampering within the department. A reporter shouted, "Is it true the victim was Prosecutor Washington's father?" Pearson nodded. Maya Washington will be recusing herself professionally, but the department stands firmly behind her family's right to justice. Another voice. Officer Dalton's attorney claims Ms. Washington manipulated evidence out of revenge. Maya stepped to the microphone. The crowd hushed. My father taught me that justice isn't about revenge, she said, voice steady. It's about truth. The evidence will speak for itself in court, where Officer Dalton will receive something my father never got. Due process. Camera flashes exploded. Behind the crowd, Maya spotted Officer Dalton's uncle, Deputy Commissioner Wilson, watching with cold eyes. As she walked back inside, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. You've made powerful enemies. Back off while you can. Maya deleted it without breaking stride. When everyone's watching, would you keep pushing for truth or let it go? What would you do? Share your decision in the comments. Also, hit like and subscribe. The grand jury indictment came down like thunder. First-degree murder, obstruction of justice, civil rights violations, falsifying police reports. The list stretched on. Maya watched from the back of the courthouse as Dalton was led in for arraignment. No longer in uniform, but an orange jumpsuit, wrists and ankles shackled. Judge Elena Ortiz presided, her expression granite. Bail? The prosecutor, Special Prosecutor Nathan Reed, brought in from Philadelphia, stood. The people request remand, Your Honor. The defendant has shown willingness to tamper with evidence, has made threats against witnesses, and poses a significant flight risk. Dalton's attorney, James Wyatt, the department union's highest-priced legal gun, scoffed. Your Honor, Officer Dalton is a decorated police officer with deep ties to this community. This case is politically motivated by a prosecutor with a personal vendetta. Judge Ortiz's gaze swept the courtroom, landing briefly on Maya before returning to Dalton. The defendant is remanded without bail pending trial. Wyatt surged forward. Your Honor, this is unprecedented for an officer. What's unprecedented, Mr. Wyatt, is the video evidence already in the public record. If your client were anyone else, we wouldn't be having this conversation. She banged her gavel. Next case. As Dalton was led away, his eyes found Maya's across the courtroom. His mouth twisted into a smirk. Outside, reporters surrounded Maya. Do you believe justice is possible? One shouted. Maya paused on the courthouse steps. Justice isn't just possible, she replied. It's inevitable. Would you let injustice slide if it kept the peace, or would you risk everything to call it out? Share your choice in the comments. Like and subscribe if you believe silence is never the answer. The death threats began the day after the arraignment. First came the online vitriol, police forums exploding with fury, thin blue line avatars demanding Maya's head. Then her home address appeared on dark web forums. Her car was vandalized, race traitor spray painted across the hood. Maya moved into a hotel under FBI protection. They insisted. She didn't argue. Meanwhile, the case expanded like a supernova. What started as one officer's murder charge blossomed into the Justice Department's full investigation of the Baltimore PD. 3 senior officers were placed on leave. Internal Affairs suddenly had federal oversight. Deputy Commissioner Wilson resigned for health reasons. You've started a war, FBI agent Rivera told Maya as they reviewed security footage of her apartment building's surveillance system. Half the department sees Dalton as a sacrificial lamb. And the other half? Maya asked. Relieved someone's finally cleaning house, Rivera said, but they're staying quiet for obvious reasons. Maya's phone rang. Thomas Kelly from Internal Affairs. I need to see you, he said, voice tight. Not at the office, not at your hotel. Why? I found something else, about the other shootings. They met at the harbor, Kelly looking over his shoulder every few seconds. He handed her a flash drive. This goes back 10 years, not just Dalton, 5 other officers in his unit, all with suspicious shootings, all ruled justified. You're saying it's a pattern. I'm saying it's a club, Kelly corrected. They call themselves the Cleaners. They target minorities, plant evidence, cover for each other. Wilson protected them. Maya felt sick. How many victims? 23 shootings, 17 deaths. How was this not discovered before? Kelly looked away. Because no one wanted to find it. The flash drive felt like it burned in Maya's palm. This could blow the whole case open, make it bigger than just my father. That's what I'm afraid of, Kelly admitted. These guys don't just have badges. They have connections. Judges, prosecutors, maybe even feds. Are you telling me to back off? I'm telling you to be careful. Kelly looked directly at her. Your father wasn't randomly targeted. His address was on a list they kept. Potential problems in the neighborhood. How would my father be a problem? He was a retired engineer who grew tomatoes. He filed multiple complaints about aggressive police patrols in your old neighborhood. Started a community oversight committee. Maya closed her eyes briefly, remembering her father's passionate dinner table speeches about civic responsibility. So this wasn't just random racism, it was targeted silencing. Kelly nodded. The preliminary hearing starts next week. Special Prosecutor Reed needs to see this, but if I'm the one who provides it, you're afraid for your life. I have kids, Ms. Washington. Maya pocketed the flash drive. I'll protect your identity, but I need one thing. What? Your testimony, when the time comes. Anonymous until then, but eventually, this needs a voice from inside. Kelly stared out at the dark harbor waters. My wife's going to kill me. Better her than them, Maya said. As they parted ways, Maya didn't notice the figure watching from a distant bench, phone raised, taking photos of their meeting. What would you do if the whole room watched you bring someone to justice, stay strong, or show mercy? Let's talk about it also. Hit like and subscribe. The call came at 3 a.m., jarring Maya from fitful sleep. Is this Maya Washington? An unfamiliar male voice, hushed and urgent. Who is this? Someone with an offer. Drop the additional conspiracy charges. Focus only on Dalton for your father. The rest disappears. Maya sat up, fully alert. Who am I speaking to? Someone who can make Dalton's conviction guaranteed, or make it impossible. Are you threatening to tamper with my father's case? A soft laugh. I'm offering you certainty. One officer, one conviction. Justice for your father. Clean and simple. There's nothing clean about this, Maya said. 23 shootings, 17 deaths. A pause. So Kelly gave you everything. Maya's blood ran cold. Think carefully, Ms. Washington. Dalton or nothing. One officer punished or none. Your call. The line went dead. Maya stared at her phone, then dialed Agent Rivera. Kelly's been compromised. Get agents to his house now. They were too late. Thomas Kelly's car was found at the bottom of the harbor the next morning. Suicide, according to the preliminary report. No note. Family devastated and confused. Special Prosecutor Reed met Maya in a secure room at the Justice Department. We can still proceed with the Dalton case, he said, but without Kelly, The broader conspiracy is nearly impossible to prove. They killed him to send a message, Maya said, voice hollow. Probably. The question is, do we hear it or do we push forward? Maya stared at the case files spread across the table. Her father's kind eyes looked back from his driver's license photo. We push. Would you show mercy to someone who never showed you respect? Or would you let the consequences do the talking? Let us know in the comments. Also, like and subscribe. The courthouse hallway felt like a war zone. Media cordoned on one side, protesters on the other. Signs split between "Back the Blue" and "Justice for James." Inside the courtroom, Maya sat directly behind Special Prosecutor Reed. She'd fought to be there rather than safer, less visible options. Dalton entered in his orange jumpsuit, eyes immediately finding Maya. His slight smile turned her stomach. Judge Ortiz called the court to order. I understand the prosecution has an announcement before we proceed with pre-trial motions. Reed stood. Yes, Your Honor. The United States wishes to amend the indictment. Defense Attorney Wyatt leapt up. Objection. We've had no notice. You'll receive the amended filing momentarily, Reed continued smoothly. Based on new evidence, we are adding federal hate crime charges and RICO violations against the defendant. The courtroom erupted. Judge Ortiz banged her gavel repeatedly. Explain yourself, Mr. Reed, she demanded when order returned. Your Honor, evidence has emerged showing Officer Dalton's participation in an organized group within the Baltimore Police Department self-named the Cleaners. This group systematically targeted minorities for harassment and, in some cases, deadly force. Dalton's face flushed deep red. His attorney grabbed his arm, whispering furiously. Reed continued. Furthermore, the Justice Department is simultaneously arresting 4 additional officers involved in this conspiracy. We have digital records, financial transactions, and communications establishing patterns of behavior constituting an ongoing criminal enterprise. Maya watched Dalton's composure crack, eyes darting, jaw twitching. The prosecution is seeking the death penalty under federal hate crime statutes, Reed finished, given the premeditated nature of these killings and their basis in racial animus. The word hung in the air. Death. Wyatt was on his feet again. This is prosecutorial misconduct. We demand an immediate meeting in chambers. Judge Ortiz nodded curtly. Counselors, in my chambers. Now. As the attorneys filed out, Dalton turned to stare directly at Maya. Gone was the smirk, replaced by naked hatred. In the gallery behind Maya, someone whispered, They're actually going for it. Another voice, Good. Make an example. When the attorneys returned 30 minutes later, Reed looked grimly satisfied. Wyatt looked shaken. Judge Ortiz addressed the court. Trial is set for January 15th. All motions for dismissal are denied. This court will hear evidence on all charges, including capital punishment considerations. As Dalton was led away, Maya caught his eye one last time. The hatred was still there, but now, beneath it, something new. Fear. If someone crossed the line and humiliated you, would you have forgiven them or made sure the world saw what they did? Drop your take in the comments. Also hit like and subscribe. Will the defendant please rise? Richard Dalton stood, flanked by his attorneys. 7 weeks of trial had hollowed his face, but his eyes remained defiant. The jury foreman, a middle-aged black woman with silver-framed glasses, handed the verdict to the bailiff, who passed it to Judge Ortiz. The courtroom held its collective breath. In the matter of the United States versus Richard Dalton, on the count of murder in the first degree, the jury finds the defendant guilty. Maya closed her eyes briefly. On the count of deprivation of civil rights resulting in death, guilty. The recitation continued. Guilty of tampering with evidence, guilty of obstruction of justice, guilty of hate crime causing death. The jury will now deliberate on the question of sentencing, Judge Ortiz announced. That deliberation took only 4 hours. Having found the defendant guilty of federal hate crimes resulting in death, does the jury find that the aggravating factors warrant the imposition of the death penalty? The foreman stood straighter. We do, Your Honor. Dalton swayed slightly. Someone in the gallery gasped. Judge Ortiz's voice was solemn. Richard Dalton, this court sentences you to death by lethal injection. May God have mercy on your soul. As court officers moved to escort Dalton out, he suddenly lunged toward Maya, spitting words. You think this is justice? They'll never let it happen. You'll die before I do. Guards wrestled him back. Judge Ortiz ordered him removed. Outside the courthouse, a sea of cameras greeted Maya. She approached the microphones with Special Prosecutor Reed beside her. Today, justice was served not just for my father, but for all 17 victims of the cleaners, she said. This verdict sends a message. A badge is not a license to kill. It's a responsibility to protect and serve all citizens equally. A reporter shouted, Do you support the death penalty in this case? Maya paused. What I support is accountability. For too long, these officers operated with impunity, believing themselves above the law. Today proves no one is. Another. The police union is already promising appeals. This could take decades. Justice is sometimes slow, Maya acknowledged, but it is relentless. As the crowd dispersed, Maya stood alone on the courthouse steps. The winter sun broke through clouds, casting long shadows. Her phone buzzed, a message from FBI agent Rivera. 4 more officers indicted today. This isn't over, but it's a start. Maya looked up at the Justice Department's motto carved in stone above the courthouse doors. Where law ends, tyranny begins. For the first time since her father's death, she felt something close to peace. Some say forgiveness is strength. Others say it's surrender. If you were the judge today, would you forgive the antagonist or let him face justice fully? Tell us below. Like and subscribe too. 1 year later, Maya Washington stood at her father's grave, placing fresh flowers beside his headstone. The appeals process for Dalton had begun, as expected. The other officers had pleaded guilty to lesser charges in exchange for testimony. The Baltimore Police Department was under federal oversight. New policies, new training, new accountability. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't even close. But it was movement. Maya traced her father's name on the cold stone. James Washington had never sought the spotlight, never wanted to be a symbol. He just wanted his neighborhood to be safe. In death, he'd helped make it safer. The most dangerous power isn't a weapon or a badge, Maya whispered to the quiet cemetery. It's the belief that some lives matter less than others. Justice wasn't just about punishments handed down. It was about systems finally forced to change. If you enjoyed today's story, like, share, and subscribe for more justice stories like this.